So Sunday the 5th of February 2023. In this evening show, very late evening show in fact, we are reviewing a right hammering at the Riverside as Mick McCarthy's first league game in charge resulted in a heavy defeat, and questions are already being asked about square pegs in round holes. And I am John Aspinall and this is the Seasounds podcast match reaction show. Middlesbrough 3, Blackpool 0.
Ready, change the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. 9 p.m. on a Sunday. Can't even say it's better than Songs of Praise. That's now on a much earlier slot.
Was it not the last episode of Happy Valley tonight?
No wonder we've hardly got anyone here. There's only 61 people.
That'll be it.
Songs
of Praise is one thing.
That's it. Happy Valley. That's Charlton, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's actually set in the town where my dad was from, Todmorden. A very depressing place.
I went on holiday to Todmorden.
Why does that not surprise me?
Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, quite recently.
That's so funny. My dad could
here tonight.
My dad could not wait to leave there.
No.
He was chomping at the bit to leave, and moving to Blackpool was like nirvana for him.
Well, I can see why.
Anyway, John, it was the Chinese good on Friday night.
Yeah. Plenty, very filling food, yeah.
No MSG poisoning.
No, I think Tim's having a bit of a slight dig at me there for not doing a preview show on there.
It was too full after eating his food.
The Middlesbrough, that was just an afterthought, Tim. The Middlesbrough podcast didn't turn up, so yeah. I didn't think there was much point. I think the previews are a bit shit without the opposing fans on. So. Just my view. Anyway. Welcome back, Pete. Anyway, hope you're feeling a bit better. You're looking a bit like Jeremy Clarkson there.
Oh, thank you.
You know, you're...
Oh, oh, God. Okay. No, I'm not commenting on that.
Forget the negativity, lads. Gracie has just said. Afraid I can't make that promise.
I'm going to be positive tonight.
So, Tim, we all went up to Middlesbrough. A bit of a convoy, wasn't it? Quite a few of our crew were all there. Lots of faces we all knew there. How was your trip up there?
Really
we were going to go to England's highest pub, but as Mitch rightly pointed out, it was a bit of a diversion, so we sacked it off and went to McDonald's instead.
Nearly as good. We went up. We went quite early actually. We sort of set off about 8:30, and had a stop to charge the car on the way with some complimentary coffee, which was all right, and then hit Yarm for breakfast. I don't know whether it's a thing up in the northeast, but it was, excuse the vernacular, burnt as fuck. I don't know whether but it was like nice, but it was like the most burnt bacon you could ever have and the most burnt black pudding you could ever have. I didn't quite get it, but I did say to the lads, it might be a thing up here, you know, it might be how they do it. So we had breakfast in Yarm, and then we had to do the obligatory Sam Smith's plug for one of my lot who likes to tick them off.
Real ale twat.
Well, it's not particularly real ale. It's just a Sam's. It's like everybody used to train spot in the 70s when they were kids, and like right. I think he does the equivalent with Sam Smith's pubs. I mean, they're all the same to me, and the ale's pretty rank, so I don't quite understand it. But and then we walked down to we parked up in town and walked down to the ground. So it was quite a pleasant walk down there, to be fair.
Yeah, we were commenting that one. Went with one of the other dads from the footy team, took 2 kids, and we parked up in near a shopping centre, Sainsbury's, and walked down. It was quite a nice walk down there. And those enjoy Alvida's aim pet. I was quite buzzing to see the transport of the Middlesbrough Transporter Bridge, one of the famous sites of Middlesbrough, that Oz and the lads all knocked down. So that was pretty good. Yeah, it was, there was quite a nice
from Newcastle. Well,
Oh,
because
yeah,
they went to
'cause-
Middlesbrough to do it.
Yeah. Got a good picture of me at the end of the evening. It looked a bit like an Imperial Walker from the front. Anyway, Matt, did you go?
No, I
we've not
didn't.
chatted, have we? No, didn't think you did.
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to. It was my lad's birthday, and surprisingly, he didn't opt for Middlesbrough away for his birthday treat, which I was quite disappointed at, really. So I couldn't. So I was stuck on Streamsville.
Just going back to Craig's point, Parmos were commended to us post-match, and I've never ever heard of them. And like, obviously, you get
What's
it in
that?
like I know they're not Geordies, but you get it in like the northeast accent, and they go, "No, you got to have a Parmo," and I'm like, "What's a Parmo?" But
What is a Parmo, Tim? What is a Parmo?
I'm still not that much. It's something
Chicken with parmesan on in it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know whether it's like a chicken Kiev, but with Parma ham on. Parma ham. I don't know.
No, it's parmesan in it. I thought it was chicken in like a cheese sauce or something with parmesan.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's weird. And we have chips and gravy. They have chips and cheese sauce, or chicken and cheese sauce.
Anyway,
Apparently
let's get on. Right, anyway, Tim, that's enough of that.
It's a local delicacy, apparently.
Right, okay.
Disgusting.
Let's crack on. We don't want to get bogged down with the culinary delights of Middlesbrough. First topic then we've got is the lineup. Let's get up on the screen. Maxwell, Connolly, Charlie Good, Curtis Nelson, two players we've not seen before in the flesh. Well, I haven't. Andy Lyon, CJ Hamilton, Tom Tribal, another league debutant, Josh Bowler, Charlie Patino, Shane Lavery, and Jerry Yates. Pete, what did you think about this? And what was your thought process on how he was going to line this team up, knowing Mick McCarthy teams as we do?
When I saw it,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't surprised, apart from Shane Lavery. But my initial thoughts were, why the fuck didn't he go with the formation that we picked before the Southampton game?
Yep. 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
It was a killer team, that, wasn't it?
It was a killer team. It still is. But I don't ever want to see 5-3-2 or 5 at the back again, to be honest with you. It just doesn't work for us. But I think he's going to persevere with it and try and make it work, to be fair. But yeah, and ironically, probably the two wing backs were probably the best two players on the pitch.
Yeah, CJ did have a good game. Tim.
So did Lions.
Tim, Steve Hutchins just said, big shock for me, no Pervader. Feels like we went to park the bus. That's a fair shout.
Yeah. I mean, I think actually, if you look at that team and look at the subs bench, and I think I said this in the podcast group, didn't I? I think I'd have played most of the subs, me.
Yeah.
I think I'd have actually played 5 of those subs. Definitely 4. And Pervida's probably the one, though, where we thought, oh, no, I thought he was injured, to be honest. I mean, obviously, we've had the explanation afterwards, and I could sort of understand the rationale of thinking with us not having the ball much that Lavery might do more chasing down. But yeah, shot. I mean, it don't. So we've got, for me, I would have definitely played 4, if not 5 of those subs as in the starting 11. And I endorse what Pete says that. I mean, I also put a thread up on AVFTT.
You did
4-4-2, but to be honest, 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. That's how we're going to get out of this division, not by playing 3 at the back, or not. Just that's how we're going to stay in this division, I should say, not get out of it.
Mitch, over to you. Charlie Patino's inclusion constantly surprising me. He's just not doing enough to start these games and keeps getting picked.
It almost makes you think like there's a clause somewhere in some kind of deal, doesn't it? Because he seems undroppable for no particular reason. Certainly on his form since I don't know, since we came back from the World Cup break. I just chose, because I'm trying to give it positive vibes only. I just chose not to comment on the lineup in any medium because I didn't like it. But there we go. Far be it for me to bang on about our number 14. But if you're going to play, what appears to be a very defensive lineup and invite a lot of pressure on you, you've got to have an out ball. And Lavery and Yates have going back to last season, Lavery and Yates playing together never worked. I can't think of one time when Lavery and Yates playing together has ever worked, because we talked a year or so ago on the pod about them making the same runs and doing the same things and not really working for each other. And Pervader left out, Bowler in that midfield role that I never ever want to see him play again. Look, McCarthy's obviously he's new to it, and you've got to give him. You've got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll see what doesn't work and he'll react accordingly. But I didn't like the lineup at all.
Okay, first talking point in the script is one call entitled "Early Pressure." Tim, now there was a lot of, obviously early pressure relates to their start to the game, but there was a bit of early pressure just getting up to the seats in the stands. And there was a lot of Blackpool fans there. There must have been like 1,200, 1,300, maybe more. And we were all crushed in to 2 blocks of seats. And the more or less wasn't enough to go around because people were standing where they wanted to. And it was just absolutely ridiculous. The fact there's rows and rows of empty seats and blocks of empty seats, and they're crushing us in. There was loads of aggro with the supporters.
I ended up in the aisle in the end, and but I came up the nearest to where the home fans were congregated, that aisle there. And this woman's going, "Show me your ticket, show me your ticket." And I'm going, "Well, why?" I hate it when they ask for tickets in the ground. She says, "Well, I want to see whether you're in the right row for your seat." I said, "Well, nobody sits in the right seat." She says, "Go, you're over the other side. Your seat's over there." I said, "No, somebody will be in it." I said, "Why don't you just move these, they had the little netting back. Yeah. So why don't you just move the netting back a bit?" And they wouldn't. And just go over there, so basically got shoved over. And they went on to the right-hand side of 2 blocks. And it was exactly the same over there. So I spent the whole of the first half and nobody steward said anything about it, along with about 30 others stood in the gangway. Yeah. And that, how safe is that if you get pushed or something? Because it was quite steep steps, weren't they? Mm. So it was nonsensical. I mean, there was a few more Blackpool there than I thought there was going to be. I don't think there was quite as many as you just said. I think it was more like 800. There's only 2 blocks at the end of the day. But I was quite impressed with the turnout, and I think a few people went to show some support. First league game for Mick, and equally, and I think it's been said in the comments, I don't think any of us really thought. I actually predicted the 3-0 defeat. So, I just didn't see us getting anything. I think what we were looking for, hopefully, was a performance that was going to give us a platform for these, what are 2, as we're no doubt going to go on to discuss, 2 incredibly important games this week. So, obviously, we can discuss as the pod goes on whether we think we gave ourselves that platform.
Mm. Raggy's just put in the comments, terrible stewarding and policing. Yet again, Blackpool fans treated like second-class citizens with nobody helping. The nobody helping comment there, Raggy, really rings true with me, because we were there with, my cousin was there with 3. We were there with 3 kids, 3 and 8 and 9-year-olds. We literally had nowhere we could sit together, and I was just asking the guys, "Can you just move that netting over? We can all sit together." They were going, "No, right, just go and try and find some seats within there." I was like, "Are you joking? There's like 8 of us." They were like trying to say, "Right, 2 of you go in there, 1 of you go in there. There's 1 seat there. There's 1 seat there." They're just dummies. They've got no common sense, and yeah, they weren't helping at all, were they? And
no,
it really pissed me off.
And well, I got told, go find your seat. And I said, there was somebody in there, and I said, nobody sits their own seat. She goes, "They do here." like that. They do here. I thought, well, no, they don't. And no, they won't. I can imagine going up to somebody in the seat saying, "This is my seat, mate. Can you go?"
Fuck
Oh, that's going to work,
you
isn't
get.
it?
Well, there was a lot of aggro between Blackpool fan and Blackpool fan I saw because of this very thing, and yeah, it was.
Well, they weren't. The thing is, the stewards were being incredibly insistent that you went to your own seat. But how's that going to work in that melee?
Possible.
Trying to find it, and then secondly, trying to bump somebody out of it, who's then going to have to bump somebody else out of it. It was just ridiculous. But all they need to do, they pull that netting back just for that last corner section. It would have been fine. They were nowhere near the Middlesbrough fans.
We were on the other side, and that had netting on. We were still a fair distance from them. That had relieved all the pressure. And it was, they didn't have any discounts for like under 12, so we had to pay 18 quid for a 9-year-old's. 18 quid per 9-year-old. So wow. Middlesbrough, you're a bit of a club of shithouses on the stewarding.
Well, maybe they're copying us because we won't do any reciprocal pricing with anybody, will we? We'd probably charge them 30 quid.
Be interesting how much we charge kids.
I generally don't know, but I think this is. I think I pulled this out of the structured dialogue meeting that we need to be actively looking to do reciprocal pricing for certain games, where particularly where our fans are having to travel long distances, and we won't do it. And
we've got to pay Ben Mansford's 350 grand or whatever it is a year salary somehow, though, haven't we? So we've got to inflate the prices.
But they don't think it. I think the rationale is, well, that doesn't impact on Blackpool fans, but it does if you travel away.
Yeah,
is he still here?
We get mugged off every time we go away because there's never any discounted tickets.
Yeah,
because we won't do it for them, so they save it for a team who will discount. I was glad to see stepping ahead a bit, but I noticed Blackburn have actually just unilaterally discounted the Tuesday night game against us down to about 20 quid, and it's about 5 quid for kids, which is, it's nice when you see that happen every now and again.
Yeah,
we charge £9 for under 13-year-olds.
That's all right. Oh, right. When we've played them, haven't we? We should start charging Middlesbrough the same then. 18 quid for an under 12. Fucking stupid. Anyway, early pressure also has football connotations. Pete.
That's me. I missed the first 10 minutes.
Okay,
Mitch. Stream working.
All right, okay. Tim, let's come back to you then.
Yeah.
A lot of early pressure from Middlesbrough. They've hit the bar early on. What was his name? McGree.
I mean, how that did go in, that one that hit the bar. I mean, what I will say about Middlesbrough just generally is over the 90 minutes, and I qualify only because I think Burnley were exceptional in the first 30 minutes against us when we drew 3-3. But they're the best team I've seen all season. And what interested me most about them was incredibly good on the ball. The number of times passes went astray, probably count on one hand. But also how much they work when they're off the ball. If one of our players was in possession, there was 2 snapping around his ankles pretty much straight away. So they were very, very impressive. And it's a task for them to catch Sheffield United, who obviously have been very consistent all season, because they're 10 points behind. But they are, for me, the best team I've seen. And that, like you said, the early pressure was like the Alamo, and it was a cash. For me, it was always going to be a question of how many, so it wasn't at all surprising when they did take the lead. But they'd had, I think they'd already had 2 or 3 decent chances at that point.
Yeah. Mitch, as Tim's just mentioned there, Middlesbrough did take the lead. That Akpom, brilliant goal, and he's just turned Connolly absolutely inside out 3 or 4 times over and curled her. The actual curl he got on that shot was almost against the laws of physics. It curled that much, and can't really blame Maxwell for that. It's just a great goal. You have to hold your hands up.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can blame Maxwell. I mean, he does look a bit like on the replay that he sort of dives forward rather than towards the ball. But I think,
So you are blaming Maxwell.
but I think that's probably just agenda-driven nonsense. No, you can't blame him. It was a beautiful finish, and I was sort of. It just Tim's described the first bit very well. It was just a matter of time, wasn't it? And I was just pinning my hopes on. Sometimes you come up against the side and they throw everything they have at you, and eventually run out of steam, and it's frustrating. It's just not their day, and what a finish that was. And yeah, defensively there are questions as if just put up there. We too much space, but regardless of whatever else we did, I don't think we expected that finish. It was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, obviously I wasn't at the ground. I don't know what the reaction was like in the ground, because sometimes when the other team scores a goal like that, you just end up thinking, fair enough. And I mean, I don't think we could have any complaints about being a goal down at that point.
Do you know, after the game, we were in this pub, and so the Middlesbrough lads were saying, did he mean that? Because they were in the they were actually behind the goal where it was scored, but I don't think they got the greatest view of it from where they were. And they said, was that a cross? I said, no chance. He meant it all the way. And they took some convincing, to be honest. But I think it was a sublime finish. But, Connolly should have been closer to him. And, we did... but they were good. They were good, and they were fast, and they were consistent, and they just kept coming at us.
Well, with that horrible blend you get in a team sometimes, is they seemed quite big, but also fast and skillful. You normally get one of the two, don't you, or one of the three? But they seem to have all of those three things.
And the problem is as well when we then are playing, and I'll come back to CJ later, because I've got some very positive things. But when we've got a player at left back or left wing back who's not great at retaining possession, we've then got Patino and Bowler who haven't got a tackle in them between them, Lavery was chasing shadows a bit. That ball was just coming straight back at every verse end for me, and particularly I thought we got better. I don't want to get ahead, but I thought we got better in the second. But in the first half, it was just one-way traffic, and how the hell we kept it down to 1-0, I really don't know. It should have been 4.
Did you? What part did you stream? Start walking
after about 10 minutes.
Okay. So
I can't really say much, but I mean, I don't know how we were 1-0 down at half time, to be honest with you. And they were just a good team to watch as well. You can't deny it. And we were just struggling all over the place. We really were. We just weren't getting a foot on the ball. We couldn't get it forward to anyone with any purpose, particularly. And, they deserved to, well deserved to be 1-0 at half time.
Yeah, we were lucky to be.
And I thought, here we go. He's either going to shake it up and change it at half time, and we'll, at least we're only 1 down, and we'll be out. We've still got a chance here, but,
Yeah, I was expecting a change at half time, maybe of formation, because we just were not in that game.
Well, I know it's predictable, but I was astonished that he didn't bring Medina on at half time, because it was, and you can forgive him this, because you can't expect him to have learned everything that the 2 previous managers has learned, because he's not been here. But it was textbook, those games when Critchley decided to go without Medina, and then we just couldn't make it stick at all. And I was astonished he didn't bring Medina on. And to be honest, I was astonished that, maybe not astonished that Bowler came out of the second half, but astonished that Bowler came out to do the same thing in the second half. Bowler's numbers are, just to be hark back to the days of Sean, Bowler's numbers are really quite astonishing for a player playing in central midfield. How many tackles do you think he made?
I don't think we made many all round, did we?
None. How many passes do you think he made in the game?
3.
7.
Put a
You're
good
very-
ball into Yates, didn't he?
Well, he did, but it was one of his 6 successful passes. So if you've got a midfield 3 with a player that's not going to tackle, it goes without saying he didn't head the ball, and he's going to have 6 successful passes. That's not numbers that are going to win you a game of football, is it?
Speaking of numbers, Middlesbrough accurate passes 544.
Right.
Blackpool 93.
That's unbelievable.
Ball possession 76%. Blackpool 24%.
I know we were down at 19% possession at one point in that first half.
To be fair to Josh, he had good passing accuracy, 81.3, which is the highest one of our players. So, 6 passes expected.
Let's move on to Bowler then. Flash of Bowler is the next talking point. Tim, did you see Jerry Yates' disallowed goal? Because it's probably the only thing Josh Bowler, first thing he did in the game. It was one of his trademark mazy runs.
I think he did one in the first half, but didn't quite connect. For me, we started to see what he could do, but he should be doing it further up the pitch. But yeah, right at the beginning of the second half, he did a trademark cut in, took a few players on, slid the ball through to Jerry, and who just, I think, was onside, and then they just made, I don't know whether they stepped up or what. I couldn't quite make that out, but he was a smidgen offside, and finished well, to be fair, into the bottom left-hand corner. Good finish. I think he knew he'd straight off the side because he didn't argue too much. But yeah, and it's on, because at half time we were so we were so lucky. You were thinking, right, well, you never know. We might come out in the second half and have a go. And to be fair, we did. And that, particularly that first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, we had a bit of a go at them, and we looked a lot better. And I said, I'm probably one of CJ's, and will remain one of CJ's biggest critics, because I don't think he holds the ball well enough for our team. But I thought the one player who really, really stands out in this formation, as against what he does in other formations, is him. Because it seems this formation seems to give him a lot more license to run with the ball than they were perhaps seen in other setups. I'd never put him in that 4-2-3-1 personally. But he does, as a left wing back, if Mick's going to stick with a 3, he's going to get a lot of game time, because he used his pace. Listen, and all Middlesbrough's players are decent. They've got a fantastic team, and he was causing their right back quite a lot of problems. And as we saw, he was played in, ran the line, and crossed the ball for Jerry's second effort, which wasn't too long after that, when he skimmed the crossbar, and very, very unfortunate not to get a goal there when it was still 1-0, and that was probably the turning point for me, because they go and score not long after. But I've got to say that's what I thought. I know we're not there yet, but he was our best player. Was CJ yesterday?
We've said that a few times about him this season when he's played. To be fair,
well, you have, I haven't.
I think you're being a bit unkind to him.
Well, no, I'm not being unkind to him. I was saying he was our best player today.
Generally, I think in the past he's had, in some of the games he's played in this season,
I think I can see his impact value, but for me, based on the squad we've got, I want better possession players, because if we give the ball away, then it causes, as we saw yesterday, particularly, it causes us problems. So he wouldn't be in my starting 11, but in this formation he would be.
Yeah,
he would be, and he was very effective. Listen, my concern is that's going to help cement the formation, a formation that is I think will just see us relegated. So that's my frustration. That's where I've got my concerns lie. But CJ that's as good as I've seen him play yesterday, against a very, very good side as well.
And also, his Rory Delap-esque long throws. Not quite Rory Delap-esque. I
go a
was
bit
laughing
high,
at
don't
them.
they?
They were like, he takes the throws like he's got grease on his hands. It slips out and just goes.
Where's
Plop.
that?
It plops onto the head of the first defender and he just heads it away. I was like, what the fucking, what a waste of time.
Where's that been hidden though? For
I know,
2.5
exactly.
That's another
years?
Exactly.
Mick McCarthy thing now, isn't it? He likes somebody who has a long throw.
Have they had a competition in training or something?
I was
Has
just
he-
thinking that. I was just thinking that. You can see that now. Low line up.
Yeah.
I thought Connolly took the long throws. But
Not anymore. Not anymore.
I mean, they are quite long, aren't they? But they're just sort of
Just
they're like a
slide.
shuttlecock and badminton thing.
Oh, you are the king of the analogies, Mitch, and you've nailed it again. CJ's shuttlecocks. I should have put
As much direction as a Chinese balloon, eh?
Yeah, I was trying to work something out on that.
We need some
probably about as high.
the US Air Force to go and shoot it down.
Good.
Video today of them shooting it down. He had some yokel in the background of this video going, "That's my Air Force, that is." Yes, and B. Gabriel does have decent throw. Shame he's not so decent at staying on bar stools. That's another story. What we got up next? When did they score? Did they score before or after the subs?
It was not long after Jerry's
Header.
Jerry's header. It was like about 2 minutes later.
Yeah, I've
as I
got this in the wrong
remember
order then. Akpon double. Great run from Riley McGree. Just a brilliant goal, really, against him. Not a lot you can do with that, although I have put in my notes, should Maxwell have been quicker off his line?
I thought Patino didn't go with the runner.
Oh, there's a surprise.
But I've got to say, I mean,
It was good.
from a point of view-
Good was very slow.
From
Good.
point of view of cutting us apart, it was a masterclass in quick, incisive football, wasn't it? And again, you know, I think we could have defended it better, but sometimes you've got to look at the opposition, and he was superb. His involvement in that goal and the little threaded ball through for Agpom at the end to get his second was very well weighted and very incisive. So sometimes you have to applaud the opposition, but I think we helped them a bit. I must admit, I'm not really focused on Maxwell's involvement in it. Probably because I keep looking at the passes and thinking how good the passes are while they're looking at what we should have been doing. I just remember I thought Patino was the wrong side of his man and looked a bit weak. Now, whether I've been a bit harsh on him, I don't know. But he might not have been his man in the first place. But he seemed to be coming up behind him rather. He was completely the wrong side for what I could see.
So the subs came just in the nick of time when we were 2-0 down. Sonny Carey coming on for the very ineffective Shane Lavery, and Sir Kenneth coming on for a very ineffective Charlie Patino. Did they change the game, Pete? Or have an impact on it?
Well, they only scored one after that, didn't they? To be fair, we didn't play that bad in the second half, did we?
No, did all right in the second half.
We did, and we had quite a few shots, quite a few chances. You know, it was definitely Dougal. It was much better when Dougal came on, and you know I'm not his biggest fan, but at the moment he has to be playing. He has to be playing alongside Tribal, who I thought actually had quite a good game. And I thought Sonny Carey did all right when he came on as well. But you know, it was gone then, wasn't it? We tried.
So,
we could have scored just before that. Just before they scored, could have been 1-1 quite easily.
Well, after they went 2-0 up, Tim, Josh Bowler missed an absolute gilt-edged chance to make it 2-1, an immediate response. He's got to at least hit the target there. That was the game was dead then for me after that.
Yeah, I don't think it was our day all round with the shots. I think we had Jerry not long after as well, didn't we? And I've just watched it back before. I can't remember the bowler chance that well, but Jerry's that went.
It wasn't even on the highlights. It wasn't even on the extended
No.
highlights.
And maybe I was just missed. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Is that the one that hit the defender and he gave a goal kick?
That was Jerry.
The Jerry's one
Jerry
that went
one,
wide, it actually came up. It was actually on target and got deflected by the defenders. But to be fair, I thought he just put it wide, but he didn't. It was off the defender, so it would have probably been heading for the corner. To be fair to Jerry, so
Bowler's chance. It was
stand, didn't he?
Bowlers. It was a cross. Did it come from
CJ,
the right side?
Was it right on the side? I thought it certainly was one. CJ got right down the byline and put a lovely ball in for one of the chances. But he just came in on it and just sort of leaned back and put it in the the proverbial second row of the stand.
Could have been a different game if that had gone in. Yes, we had that. We had. I don't know, Tim. 2-1. We did have chances in the second half.
So one of my mates on one of our WhatsApp groups says it could be 2-2 here. I said, yeah, it could be 6-2 as well. So,
what were the shot stats at the end of the day? We had quite a few shots on target, didn't we?
Yeah,
we had one at the end of it as well.
We had a lot.
We didn't have that many on target. We had 12 shots, but only one actually on target.
Oh, right.
We had about the same number of shots as them, but they had about 7 on target.
Right.
XG 192 to our 155. We had 2 big chances. 2 big chances missed. They had 3 big chances and missed one of them. So that tells its own story. Yeah. And the game was really summed up for me on 90 minutes when Morgan Rogers, who came on, did as Morgan Rogers does, a strong, powerful, mazy run. Got fouled on the edge and afraid I spelt it wrong. That summed the day up for me. It was pathetic, that free kick.
He spells his own name wrong, John, so you could...
Doing it now.
I had actually departed the building at this point, I think, just. So I actually missed that, and I watched it back on the highlights. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Thing is,
he's been taking lessons off Russell Coughlin, I think, something like that.
Dave Bamber penalties. It was awful, wasn't it?
I've got to say, Morgan Rogers, I thought he has to he has all the attributes that he has the a reasonable amount of pace. He's strong. He's got good technique, and I'm pretty sure if he got into the positions, he'd also score a few as well. So how the hell he can't nail down a starting place in this team? At the moment, I don't know. I hope he's going to get it, because I think he could be a massive, massive influence between now and in that formation that we seem to prefer. He's the player who plays on the left-hand side of that 3 for me.
There's a whole other pod, though, in the team in terms of the joined-up thinking of, the 2 players that came in right at the beginning of the window with quite a lot of fanfare to make one style of football work, that now we're not playing that style of football anymore. And, one of those players is on the bench and the other one's playing a very alien role to him that he doesn't look very good in. But that's probably not where we want to go now.
Hello, Ben, you watching?
We'll do a Huddersfield team pick after this, so to be continued. Okay, let's move on to player ratings. I'll hide me. You can be up there, Pete. Right, Pete, you can kick this off with Chris Maxwell.
He actually made 2 really good saves in the first, really good saves. And I know he let 3 in, but, I think he's just about holding his place at the moment. And I know a lot of you'll disagree with that, but I think what can you give him? Let 3 in. Can't give him a 7. I think you've got to give him a 6+.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Yeah. Good use of the FPRS system, though. I like it. You are now an experienced member of this panel. Good to see. Tim, Callum Connolly should have got tighter on Akpom for the goal, perhaps.
I don't. I think of the back three. I think he was the most consistent. I mean, I've not watched the game back, but that was my perception when I was there. But he should have got tighter for the first. So, but then again, are you expecting a player to curl it in like that? I don't know. I thought he did okay. I think he is looking quite solid in that formation. 7.
Okay. Mitch, Charlie, good. And just before you score, what made me laugh was when he had a side-to-side shoulder charge with Cameron Archer, who was quite slight of stature, and he absolutely put him on his arse, sent sprawling in the first half. That was quite an amusing incident. But Charlie good. Jury was out for me. Looked a bit cumbersome.
He did, yeah. And he's, well, by his own admission, he's not a footballer, is he? And it turns out that he wasn't necessarily keeping his footballing skills under wraps, to surprise us all with. I think he probably deserves about a 5+. He looked a bit laboured. He had that row with Maxwell at one point over. He sort of put a ball out of play, didn't he? And Maxwell went, "Why didn't you just head it back to me?" And then the two of them went at each other for quite a while. But yeah, I mean, it's far too early to judge whether he's going to be a good addition or not. So 5+.
Shout out to Jordan Thornley, by the way. What's he done wrong? Why is he always completely shafted by every manager at Blackpool? If I was Jordan Thornley, I would be off like a shot.
I think he will be.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I've got to say, what we've got at the back there at the moment isn't an improvement on what we had.
No,
ridiculous.
Definitely not. Load of bollocks again.
Although I'm going to say this, that I would argue that the midfield was the issue in that game. That we were completely overrun in midfield again, which has been the thing all season, and that is going to put any set of defenders under pressure. I would agree that the defense doesn't look like it's been magically fixed, but then if you've got a midfield that are barely touching the ball, and they didn't, then any set of defenders you've got, I don't care who they are, is sooner or later going to get made to look daft.
Good shout. Curtis Nelson, who are we on? Is it Pete? I've lost the train of thought. Who are we on?
Pete.
Well, I'm going to go back to what Mitch says a bit there as well, because Curtis Nelson was another one who just hoofed it out. No nonsense.
Got nagged as well, didn't he, for the second?
He did okay, but when you're saying about the midfield, I mean, the midfield at the end of the day was weak yesterday, and it's been a problem all the time, and it could be sorted out with the players that we've got. But if we had Marv fit, you'd put Marv and Thornley, or I would, in place of as your two centre halves over either of the two new signings and over Callum. Obviously, that Marv isn't fit, but then Hubby again. I'd rather have Hubby in the centre of defence than
Thornley is better than any of those players. I think he's the best centre half at the club.
And when he gets the ball, he will push it out to the likes of Tribal, who will then get a chance of. And
he's got that big diagonal as well.
Massive, a big point that, Pete, because all we were doing yesterday was hoofing it.
No chance.
And McGee's not even on the
heading
pitch.
it long or hoofing it.
It was horrible. And that's again 5. 3 at the back. Not for me. But it was. We go back to the player. I thought he was okay.
What score are you giving him?
An average plodder.
Yeah.
I'll give him 5.
5 fairs. Tim, Andy Lyons nearly scored.
Yeah,
curled effort.
Yeah, I think I prefer him in a back 4.
What the hell is he?
But But I think that that as wing backs, him and CJ did really, really well. And he's a great addition. He's a natural right-sided player who's used to playing there. We're not playing a square peg in a round hole. So it's a positive, one of the more positive performances, I would probably say. 7+.
Oh, you've not got CJ, Tim, Mitch has. CJ Hamilton, our new long throw extraordinaire.
I was laughing before the paper plane comment. That was better than my Chinese balloon.
I'm going to go slightly against the CJs. The new coming of. I can't think of a
Jimmy Armfield.
Yes, the new coming of Jimmy Armfield. I think sometimes I'm going to almost say the opposite what Pete did before. I think sometimes we get very excited when CJ plays a competent game of football and declare him fantastic because he hasn't sort of run off down the tunnel or something and, run into his own post. Do you know what his passing accuracy was in the game?
You're turning into Sean, Mitch.
Yeah, but it's a serious point because what do
20%.
28%. It wasn't very good. He did play well. He got down the flank well, and he did his job well defensively. But I couldn't help feeling like, oh, blimey, he's actually made a tackle. Like when I was saying he did really well, I just meant he'd been competent. And I hate myself because I always dig out CJ, but I thought he was no better than Lyons. I thought Lyons was no better than him, so I'll give him 7+. I'm sorry, CJ, I really am. Please don't give me him again because I feel like a pick on the guy.
Right, who we got next? Tom Tribal. To you, Pete.
Right, Tom Tribal. I thought he looked the pick of the midfielders, but he was going apoplectic about the lack of balls to him. And he was giving it a lot of rattle to all the players around him, which was great to see. So he was trying to tell Patino what to do quite a bit and stuff. But he was bypassed so much.
Yeah.
If we can get some defenders that will actually pass it to him, and then maybe if we've got Dougal or Bridcut when he's fit alongside him, then they've got a chance. But with the two players he had, Bowler and Patino, he was basically on his own. But I thought he had quite a good game. But
it's difficult to play on your own, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I think got to give him a 7.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh, Tim, Josh Bowler. Now, obviously played out of position. Big Mick was digging him out a bit in the press midweek, saying, you want to play my team, you've got to adapt. You can't just play where you want. So where does the fault lie in Josh's performance and gives his score?
I forgot what was it? I must have been something at AVFTT. I'm sure I've heard Mitch say it's like playing Gary Medina at right back, but I can't remember when I heard it. But that's what it's like. Playing Josh Bowler in a central midfield where we know we're going to be under the cosh somewhat is bizarre, and I don't know whether you can blame him because he's never tackled, he's never headed the ball, he's never going to tackle, he's never ever going to head the ball. So why put him in a team and ask him to do it? I don't understand it.
Yeah, he may as well not be on the pitch in that.
Well, he should have, because he was so ineffective. Bar when he was in those odd times, he was in where he would be normally in the pitch in a game, and then you start to see Josh Bowler. You start to see Josh Bowler in the sort of right hand quadrangle when we were in possession, or particularly he was in possession, and he was able to have the odd chance at a run. But to us, I wouldn't have played him yesterday, full stop, because for the same reason Mick dropped Pavida, I'd drop Bowler in that game because we need people who are going to roll the sleeves up and get a tackle in and track men back and keep possession for us. And Bowler's not going to keep possession for us. He never did keep possession for us when he was playing fantastically because he was always the player who would take players on and take a chance. But 70% of the time, he'd lose possession. It was the 30% of the time that he didn't that we saw some magic. So it's not his fault.
You've got to blame the manager.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
What's Mick McCarthy doing playing him there?
I'm going to give him a 6 because I don't think he deserves to be given a 5.
Oh, man.
I'm giving him a 6, but the performance was a 4.
A mark for each of his passes.
You can't.
I'm giving him I'm giving him a 6 because he shouldn't have been playing there. But if you want me to score it on in that position, it was a 4.
Score it on that performance, Tim. I think you've got to.
It was a 4 then.
4, yeah.
But it's not his fault, so that's why I upped it.
Right, Mitch. If Bowler's got a 4, Patino can't be far behind that, can he? Charlie Patino.
No, he was a little bit more involved than Josh, but he did my head in. Frankly, there was one bit in the second half, I think, where he took the ball in, and there was a player in space on the left. You know when you see the pass, don't you? You think, right, just play it, and he sort of took it in, turned round, did his little shimmy, and then launched it out of play towards the corner flag. And I just felt like, well, why didn't you just play that ball first time? And I think it's his head's not. He's not doing things quickly. He's not doing simple things quickly, and it looks like he's playing looks like he's playing a different game to the one that he was playing when he was good. So I will give him a 5. And yeah,
he's tracking back. He's appalling.
Look, it's
happening again and again and again and again.
I am fully prepared to die on the hill that I think Carey is a better player than him in this current
I agree.
position.
He is. Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I am absolutely not saying that Patino hasn't got the potential to be a better player than Carey in the long run, in the long term. But right now, Carey is a much better option. And to be honest, I would have played Carey in that position where Bowler played, where if you want a midfielder to burst out of that 3 and to actually have some semblance of central midfielder about him, I'd play Sonny Carey there. But I just, like I said at the top, I just feel like we're under some kind of instruction to play him come what may.
Christian Molson-Holmes just said that. Sorry, but Arsenal's boy wonder needs a long rest if that's contractually allowed. Yeah. Emperor's new clothes, I said about a month ago.
I don't think he's had a great.
Got a lot of shit for that.
Last time he had a good game was in October.
Yeah.
When we played Preston, and he did pretty well in that game. And I think my recollection is he played reasonably well against Coventry as well. But after that, the whole team hasn't played particularly well after that. But
I tell you what, to be fair to him, he put an absolute shift in against Wigan. I mean, them two, Carey and Patino, had to hold that midfield together against Wigan, they're not exactly a pretty team. And I felt sorry for him at times. I felt sorry for him at times in terms of doing a job that he's not necessarily built for, or that he's not necessarily experienced before. He just looks dumb to me.
He cannot play the next game. If he does, there must be something in there in this contractually obligement. He cannot play against.
Player, surely, can you?
Well, we've got a master negotiator negotiating these contracts.
Well, we're good at that, aren't we, at the moment?
Shane Lavery, who we on?
Me.
Pete, Shane Lavery.
He runs to the left, he runs to the right, he runs forward, he runs back, and does absolutely fuck all.
Again, though, a square peg in a round hole. It's not his position.
He was. He never, I think, was it?
Buy him as a fucking winger, did we?
He never plays well with Yates anyway. It's a complete waste of space playing the two of them together. And he's not had a great season, full stop, has he? And if he was going to be playing, he needs to be playing where Yates was, and Yates not playing, and you're not going to do that because Medina would probably be before him again. So at the moment, there's just nowhere for him. But like I said, he ran around a lot.
It was like a fly.
Did he do?
To use a Mitch analogy, he's just like a fly without any direction, just buzzing around, crashing into the window again and again and again.
Well, a fun fact. You can tell I've looked at the numbers here, but fun fact is Lavery was on the pitch for 70 minutes, touched the ball 15 times. Gary Medina was on the pitch 20 minutes, touched the ball 16 times, which I kept. That was always what I said about, when I was having a bit of banter with Sean about Medina being the greatest player on earth, etc. But the point is, when you've got those two little lads playing a similar game, sort of shuttling side to side and running around, we don't get the ball to them. It was the same under Critchley, and it'll be the same under McCarthy. You need that presence to get the ball to, particularly when our main strategy was one of the two centre backs putting the foot through the ball.
It's just bonkers that you play long ball football with Mick McCarthy and you don't play Gary Medina. It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
I'm guessing made a big difference. Big gas when he came on.
Well, I'm guessing that Raggy's right in the sense that he's what Raggy said earlier in the show, but that he's saving him for Tuesday and Saturday.
Possibly.
Possibly.
That's the only thing that can make a logical.
He was.
decision.
I mean, he made it. He looked good when he came on as well, didn't he?
He did very well. Shane Lavery score anyway. Have I missed it?
Oh God.
Did he not say 4?
Did you say 4?
Oh no, somebody in the. It was Daz McKenzie in the comments.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, I don't think he's worth any more than 4 yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, Jerry Yates, very unlucky.
Yeah, well, I thought Jerry didn't have a bad game, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
one of the few players played around.
If you analyse, in a team that had 19% possession at one point, 28% in the first half. I don't know what the stats were in the second. I'm sure Mitch can help us with that one because he's got every single stat in the world, it seems today.
Sean 2.8. Sean 2.0.
But he scored one that was offside. He was very unlucky when he hit the bar, and he was also, with reflection, having seen it back, very unlucky in the one when he brought it down in the box and kept hold of it and created an angle for himself, and probably would have, if it didn't go in, it was going to be a lot closer to going in than it eventually looked like.
It was going in.
Yeah. So if you hit a game, you're getting 3 decent chances off like that, and working hard as well, which I thought he did. He works a lot harder than some in midfield. I think it's not a great game, but a competent performance by him. I'd say it's a 7.
Okay. Closing thoughts on the game before we move on to Huddersfield. Got anything to say? Get off your chest.
Oh, just put it to bed and move on.
Yeah,
it's no use dwelling on that. Put it to bed, move on. We've got bigger games coming up.
Done.
We certainly have, and that is
a good day out ruined by football. I think
exactly, Tim.
I
had a quite enjoyable day, actually.
Yeah, I had a great day, but the football wasn't the highlight.
Right, absolutely huge game this Tuesday. Huddersfield Town at home, rearranged game from what was supposed to be Mick's big grand raw home debut. Didn't happen because they didn't put the covers on right. Is this a must-win game? Is this a must-win game? By the way, we've not won in 100 days of. We have not won a league football game in 100 days now.
So must not lose.
I think we've got to win it. I think
we're not great on Tuesday night. Sorry, I can't remember last time we played well on Tuesday night.
We can't draw. We can't keep drawing games like this. We've got to win.
It's the biggest game of the season, and going back to Saturday, I don't think we got out Saturday what we wanted out Saturday. Now, I hope it is that he's resting players my fear is we're going to see the same formation and a majority of the same personnel. And if we do, then we'll lose. So it's a massive. I mean, I think we've got a huge part to play as fans as well. I think I just going back to Saturday, I thought the support was fantastic. Really, bearing in mind what was going on the pitch, it was, and we need that times 10 on Tuesday and on Saturday, because we need to lift them in any way that we can, because it's so big. None of us want to face the prospects of getting relegated, and we are. It's October since we won a league game, for God's sake. I know we've had the break in the middle, but Jesus Christ, I can't ever remember.
Coventry.
I remember a time when we've gone so long without winning a game. It's just an incredibly long period.
Right, how are we going to win this game then?
Well, I won't
not playing five at the back.
And remember, Tim, this is our team, not what we think Mick McCarthy will do.
4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1. Although we did beat Huddersfield with 5 at the back, but to be fair, we were crap and we were lucky to win. 4-2-3-1. I'm not having 4-4-2.
Tim wanted 4-4-2. I
Oh
wanted.
no! If you saw my post, I did that for the Mike Bassett headline, but I did say 4-2-3-1. So I did. That was the first thing I said. The first line of when you actually went into the original the OP. And I agree. The main point I was making was it's got to be 4 at the back. This 5 at the back, 3 at the back nonsense. Trying to reinvent the wheel when we've got 18 games to save our season is a recipe for disaster.
Do we think? Obviously, we'll pick the team in a minute. But do we think he'll do 5-3-2 again?
Yes.
I don't know.
I do.
I think he will. Yeah.
I'm going to cry if he does.
Yeah, me too.
I think if we do, I think if he does, that's setting the tone for the rest of the season, and we do not have the players to play that system.
Well, that's what he said.
That happens
Well,
again. It's not Mick McCarthy's fault. It's the board for picking him.
Yeah, and they know the players we've got. They know surely they know what sort of football he plays. Don't get me started on the board anyway.
Right. Okay. 4-2-3-1. We're all agreed in that, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Mick, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously he wouldn't have played 5 at the back if John hadn't ordered a Chinese, because he was probably sat there thinking, what we're going to bloody do?
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
your fault, John. Bloody
I'll
hell.
get that podcast on. Get that podcast on. See what
They've
she do.
got some good ideas.
John orders a Chinese, and then look what happens.
It's more important than the bloody public.
I know. Salt and pepper spicy chicken wings are bang on from Good Taste on Mowbray Drive.
So just think, it's as much as you enjoyed your fare on Friday night, it could have cost us our championship status. It could be the most expensive Chinese you've ever eaten.
Delicious though. I might get in contact for them. No product affiliation. Cottage bakery also. Good Taste. Right, keep goalkeeper. Are we sticking with Maxwell or are we going Grimmy?
Grimmy
For me.
I think he'll stick with Maxwell, but I'll go Grimmy as well.
Right back.
Lions.
Connolly.
Why are you saying that?
Because I'd have Lions at left backs. We got no bloody left back.
That's a very fair point.
He didn't even pick Thompson in the squad.
What does that say about Thompson's future?
Well, he's like him and Wright. They were great purchases, weren't they? They're the 2 purchases we made in the summer. Bang on. So yeah, that's my
Pete, you've convinced me. Yeah, I agree.
Right back, never lets us down there. Put Lyons at left back where he's played for Shamrock Rovers all season. And
great point.
Yeah, you convinced me, Pete.
Unless you put Thornley there.
What left
What
back?
left back?
Slow.
He's
What?
played on the left side of. He's played left back before. He used to play there for.
Shut
Sheffield
up,
Wednesday.
Tim. What you on about? Come on. Thornley at left. Thornley at left back. Jesus. Right, yeah, Pete, you've come up with a good plan there. I like that.
See, Mick's taking notes now. TC. He says he can play left back. Yeah, that done.
Right, Thornley's going in as the left centre half for me.
Why is
Me
Darren
too.
McKenzie going for Gabriel? Is he back?
Is he?
He's still injured, isn't he, Darren?
He's on the grass.
Yeah, but not fit to play. Not fit to start.
No,
this
not
week,
yet.
is he?
Not far off though, is he?
Oh, hang on a minute. Matthew Wonder. Mansford would pick a 5-3-2 if he was the manager. Right, anyway, left centre half.
Judd.
Thornley.
Thornley. Won't be
It's
that.
going to have to be Judd Nelson, isn't it, from the fit players?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw what he did there. Judd Nelson was part of the Brat Pack, wasn't he?
Oh no, that was inadvertent, Tim. You've given me you've credited me with far more cultural capital than I actually
Set
possess.
Elmo's fire for those of a certain vintage.
You smooth bastard. Leisure suit Tim.
I used to play a game on the Amiga called Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah, there was.
C64 as well. Right, who are we putting in with Judd then?
It's got to be Nelson, hasn't it? Because
Okay.
he's more fit.
No, but put him in anyway.
Just,
Oh, we can't put Nelson in
just
because I've,
stand there.
I've not uploaded him.
Well,
we
Good's
can't play.
left-footed, so you'd have two. You'd have two left-footers, so you'd go for the balance.
I'll have to change it. I'll edit it in DevTools in a minute. Good will have to go in for now. Right, CDMs, tribals.
Definitely.
It's tribal and Dougal.
Yeah,
Yep.
What about
All that.
Carey? Let's think about Carey.
he's not a central defensive midfielder. Tribal and Dougal. Carey's a number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
If you're going to get the best out of Carey, you've got to get him. You've got to get him up the pitch.
Right.
Tribal and Dougal, and it's going. And we're going to need it. They're going to come and try and make it meat grinder in midfield. So we've got to match that.
Right. Who's playing the number 10 then?
Well, I'd guess that everybody would think I was insane if I said Carey, so I'll say Pervader.
Pervader.
Well, actually,
let's-
I wouldn't think you were.
No, I think that's not a bad shout. He's a good player. He's our player.
See, it depends whether you think you can start with Pervader and Bowler.
Well, it also depends with what you do up front, because if you start with Jerry and Pervader, you've got quite a tiny little strike force. If you start with Medine and Pervader, then you've probably got a little bit of a thing going on. So if you start with Jerry, do you put Carey in because he's going to give a little bit more physicality to
That's what I was thinking.
times? Yeah.
What about don't forget Morgan Rogers. I want him in this team.
Yeah, I want him
Rodgers.
on the left. I want him left, Bowler right.
Definitely. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I want Pervader. My only thing is whether Bowler's good enough to start at the moment. I don't know.
He will
I think if you put him on the
play
wing,
him in
he is.
position. Play him in his position.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think Carey's going to make way then, because I don't think you can leave Pervader out.
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't.
No, I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
Shame. Glad we've got him though.
Where's Rogers?
Rogers.
Yeah.
As long as you don't put him on free kicks.
Yeah.
Jerry or Medine?
Well, I'd say you can't.
tough
I
one.
can't. I can't pick. I can't draw. I thought Yates was man of the match yesterday. I thought he was good. And I feel like I can't drop him, but I also, my thoughts are on record that I think Medine is quite important to us. Just stick Jerry in because, just put Jerry in.
Can you play Jerry in the number 10 role with Medine in Jerry's role? But that again gets rid of Pervader.
See that? I mean, that's basically
we lack so much when Gary's not playing. He brings that such a different element to the team.
What about sticking Yates on the left, as Finn Needham's just said, in place of Rodgers? What about Rodgers in place of What about Rodgers in place of Bowler and Jerry out on the left?
I just can't leave Bowler out.
No.
I mean,
I actually would for this one.
Mm.
And use him as an impact sub. I would put Rodgers. But you could either put Yates on the left and Rodgers on the right, or put Yates on the right and leave Rodgers where he is. But I would be tempted. And it was the reason why I was prepared to consider Carey. I think we're going to need people who can work hard, and I think the risk is with having Pavida and Bowler in the same team together that we've got. Yeah. We're gonna, they're not going to track, are they?
Whereas Rodgers would.
And we know Jerry will, and we know Rodgers will, and they'll tuck in. If we're out of possession, they'll tuck in and make a midfield four. Those other two won't.
Yeah, you could always Yates and Pavida can always switch round as well.
Oh God, this is hard.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah, and Rodgers in place of Bowler. What about CJ?
He doesn't play in this system. No way.
I think Big Gaz has got to start.
I think he has.
And you're not dropping Yates either.
Big call dropping Bowler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a massive one. I think you've got to qualify it by saying I just think it has to be him or Pavida, and I think you've just got to make. Maybe if it's not working, you bring him on early in the second half. But
he's also in the past he's reacted very well to being dropped. He's come off the bench and been brilliant. He's Critch dumped him for a couple of games, didn't he? And then that's when he exploded into form after Critch sort of left it. He'd got to a point, hadn't he, sort of last October, where he was just giving the ball away so often that he was basically unpickable. So Critch dropped him, and then he was superb for about 6 weeks after that. So, yeah.
Alfie McKenzie's making a point that one day we might get a team right, but as John keeps saying, I don't think any of us think he's going to start with this team.
There'll be 6 of that side that are in it on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and there was 6 of them on the bench I'd have played on Saturday. So we are picking the team we want to see as against what we think he's going to do. Because for one, Maxwell will start again. We know that, as Pete said before, but it's not what we want. So,
okay, are we happy with this then?
Yeah, but we've got to be prepared for the Twitterati to be pulling us over Bowler's absence.
It's just the Bowler thing. It's just the Bowler thing. I just don't know how we can drop him. It's just,
yeah. If people on Twitter,
we may have to do some explaining for this one.
Listen to the logic, listen to the podcast, listen to the audio, or watch on YouTube before your silly rants on Twitter. Because there's,
I might have a rant ourselves for dropping Bowler. What are we doing here?
I know, what are we doing?
Yeah, but he's not done enough in the last 2 games, has he?
He's about twice as good as everybody else, and we've dropped him.
He's been out of position 2 games. He needs to be match fit. I don't know. I think we. I don't know.
Yeah, I like Mitch's thinking though, and it might put a bit of a rocket up his arse. And yeah, impact sub. That's the team. Right. That was the match reaction to Middlesbrough. I think we'll call it a night there. Closing thoughts, anyone?
5-3-2, we're doomed.
We need to do match predictions, don't we? What is Phil match prediction then? Tim?
With the formation I think he's going to play, lose 2-1.
It's normally right, Tim, as well. Right, I'm going to do 2
call
predictions.
3-0.
I'm going to do 2 predictions. If he plays our team in formation, we'll win 2-0. If he does his own, we'll draw 1-1. Pete?
Are we doing 2? I mean, if he picks our formation, I think we'll win 2-1. But if he picks his formation, I think we'll lose 2-0.
And I think we'll win 2-0 if we pick our formation.
Mitch.
I think he'll pick Bowler in central midfield. He'll have some absolute stormer, and the next pod will all be going, this 5 at the back is brilliant as our overlapping fullbacks. Whip the ball in to Gary Medine. He'll flick it back, and Bowler will get a hat trick from central midfield. So, and that'll be 3 of the 7 goals we score on the way to a 7-1 victory over Huddersfield Town. Come on, Poole.
Charlie Goodall scored for the corner as well.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Nice seeing you, mate. I'll come and visit.
As Alfie's just said, love the predictions. What could have happened? Very bullseye. For those of a certain vintage. Okay, I think we'll call it a day there. Just before you head off, everybody, if you liked what we're doing here, please consider joining our Patreon supporter program. You get access to the brilliant WhatsApp patrons group. A good laugh on there. You'll get all the audio podcasts without the TalkSport adverts that I'm now plying that audio feed with. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit the bell and all that.
Are we giving
Leanne a shout out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't actually know much about it, so has anyone listened?
What was it? I listened. It was like it was only a trailer for them. Basically, they're very organised, John. The BBC links it's on.
So it's all done by a network full time professionally, is it? Right. Okay.
Yeah. So Leanne's one of the regulars on there, on the regular panel. And I'm kicking myself now because my phone's not about.
This is the worst plug ever. I don't know. Let's plug this podcast that she's in, but we don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's balls
to it, isn't it?
Balls to it. That's it. Balls to it.
Balls
so if you go on your podcasts and stick that in the search engine, it'll come up. Did for me, but it's not. They've only got the intro and it's only about 10 minutes, but you get a flavour for it. It's all female, but they're talking about the match day experiences. And Leanne, true to form, mentioned getting pissed at a football match within the first 5 seconds.
Brilliant. Did she mention Kenny Dougal?
I didn't let. To be honest, she's probably saving that one for the first episode. Hatred. She talks about a love of DJ Campbell.
Oh.
And I'm sure the hatred of Kenny Dougal is a whole episode on its own.
Right. Okay. I think we'll call it an evening there. Yeah. If you. What have we said? Yeah, we'll be coming back after the Huddersfield game. No doubt, won't we? We'll either be in a very joyous mood.
Takeaways permitting.
Or we'll be...
Oh, we need them 3 points.
We'll be fucking raging when he plays that 5-3-2.
And we've lost.
And we've lost. So, yeah, stay tuned, listeners. So, yeah, thanks for your company this evening. Gentlemen, all around specialists, thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading. And up the pool. Let's get into those terriers.
Come on, Tuesday. Come on.
Don't be rough.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.
3 points.